Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 3. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you get started. Let's say you're a beginner singer or maybe even intermittent. And I say that loosely because some people who are not beginner singers still don't know where to begin. They could have been singing different places. When I say different places, different things, different functions or whatever, but they're still not sure how to get out there, how to get started. So we're going to talk about that in this episode. So I want to say hello and welcome you to Notes from a Songbird podcast, episode 3. All right, and we'll get started. I'm going to just lower my music so we can just get things kicked off. All right, so I have a lot of notes. I want to be able to be concise and give you information that I think is worthy of your time and worthy of where you are in the stream of time. Only you know that. You tuning into this podcast tells me that you are somebody who wants to explore, let's put it that way, or just wants to know more about the topic. So I'm going to pick up from we talked about the vision board, whether it's paper or digital, in episode 2, but talk about how you take that vision board, however you decided to display it, and put it to work for you so that you are at least sort of making a checklist from today's conversation to see, all right, I'm ready to start. What do I do? How do I even know if I can sing? We're going to try to cover these topics. And if we see that this topic is spilling over just a little, we may do an episode 4 in continuation of this podcast today. So let's talk about starting out singing. You may not even know if you are a good singer or if you even have something to work with. So has anybody ever said to you, you have a great voice? Maybe you were singing somewhere, they overheard you, maybe in church, maybe at a function, you were doing something fun and you were kidding around, but someone tuned in and said, wait a minute, you may have something there. I know that that has happened on several occasions with people that I've stumbled across. I had a gentleman, he was singing in the shower, a family member, and I overheard him from the shower. I actually thought it was the radio. Come to find out, he was singing a song in the bathroom with the music on, and it was him the whole time. And when he came out, my mouth just dropped. I couldn't believe that that was his voice. And I remember saying to him, you can sing. And from there, he took a couple of lessons with me. And from there, he flew. Like he's doing his own thing. His band, they're, pretty well known out there. He's just doing his thing. And I always celebrate his success because I always think if you can have someone go from something like that as a success story, that's a success, right? But he had to start somewhere. So how do you get started in that vein? Well, you have to have a way to hear yourself. So I always recommend a recorder. Have some good headphones if you really don't want anyone else to hear you. One of the things I know he struggled with was other members in the house were hearing him emote singing, and he didn't feel confident with the rest of the family hearing him. That's going to be a challenge. So find a room, a closet, find something with which you can sing, where you can sing, put a light on, put some music on. If you feel that you don't have the support of your family, because I'm going to tell you initially, you may not have the support of your family. I remember when he was being told to like, hush, that's putting it nicely, but they just didn't sign up for it. People don't understand your beginning stages. So a lot of times they don't want to hear you. They don't think you have the ability. So you really have to be able to believe in yourself or somebody tell you, hey, you can sing, right? So do you have a karaoke speaker to practice with? Um, I would recommend that you get some karaoke tracks in your key or what's comfortable. If you're not really sure about your key, where do you sing comfortably without straining? If there's some high notes and you have to really strain to get up there, you feel like you're stretching, your throat is hurting, you could be straining, stop. Find songs that are in your key. I would say listen to people that you really like and you feel like your voice sounds similar and stay there if you are comfortable and not straining your voice. Use, like I said, karaoke tracks, instrumentals, backing tracks. There's a lot online. YouTube has plenty. There's other platforms, but YouTube just has a wealth. You have a lot of people playing acoustic guitar or guitar piano. They're doing their own rendition. A lot of times people get really, really creative. But that's where you want to start. You want to see if can I follow along with the melody, right? So think of YouTube, that's a free platform. There's a karaoke version. Sometimes it's paid, but high quality. And sometimes Apple Music and Spotify does have instrumentals. You want to get a recorder and see if you can sing along and keep the pace and rhythm of that instrumental. Then, if you see that you can do those things, hmm, then record yourself and see how you sound. If you sound really good, like you can get as close to that original artist singing it, just in the tone or maybe just following along in the direction, you might be onto something. And then when you think you've got that song nailed down, because I say practice, practice, practice is key, then maybe you say, you know what, a trusted friend, do you mind if I send you something in a recording and you tell me honestly what you think? That's a trusted friend. You can't do that with everybody. When I say trusted, it has to be somebody who's got your back, that really is understanding what you're trying to do. And sometimes you may have to explain it to me. I want to explore singing. And I just want to see if maybe I have a little something. Now, be careful of the friend who's jealous of you that you could have it and they say you absolutely sound horrible. So you might need more than one opinion. I'm not saying we have friends like that, but come on, y'all, let's keep it real. This is Notes from a Songbird podcast. From my point of view, I'm just telling you what I've seen and heard. So I'm just giving you the skinny. I am not a negative person. I'm just keeping it 100% real with you. All right. You also want to look on YouTube to see if there's any type of vocal warm-ups that suit your tone, like I said, in your key, basic tools that you're hearing that you can say, I sound like that. I talked about having a piano maybe on your phone, maybe an application where you could utilize that to listen to yourself strike a key and see if you land the note as it should. Now, don't go based off of your ear. You might need two devices. So sometimes I'll use a tablet. I can put a little mini keyboard, download a little mini keyboard on a tablet, strike a key, and then I have my recorder on my phone in which I'm singing into. So I can make sure I hit the key or strike the key. I hear the note. I get it really, really in mind before I try to sing it. And then I'll strike the key and sing the note. Sometimes I strike the key and sing the note at the same time just to make sure, am I really on it? But once you, of course, you're going to keep your recorder on the whole time. But once you do that and you play it back, you pretty much can critique yourself to see, how am I doing? Now, if you have really bad, if you have a really bad ear, I would say definitely, you might uh, need some assistance there. That's why the recorder is really going to be your telltale sign if you're really nailing it. And don't do this once, do this several times because you're going to want to see how am I sounding. After you've practiced enough and singing and playing, into the or singing into the recorder and you think you pretty much have something, then continue doing that because that's what's going to help you to get your pitch correct and make sure you're on point when it comes to emulating or emoting what you're hearing. I talk about ear training as well. So if you can stay on that note, you're getting that ear trained, you're getting that muscle memory trained as far as, am I able to recall what I heard? So sometimes you can strike the key and then sing the note afterwards and see if you land it where you should. It's just a fun game. Make it a game and have fun. All right. I recommend also on YouTube, practice scales. Scales were my foundation when I was first learning to sing, up, down, jumping over notes and so forth. There's different teachers online that teach those things. Literally punch it in on your YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. And I would say, don't just listen to anybody. Let me just be clear. Find people who in the industry are really knocking it out the park when it comes to singing. And look for those individuals. Don't look for Joe Schmo because I promise you, there's some people out there that should not have a YouTube channel, should not be teaching. That's just the skinny. All right. Start to get into a routine. How often are you going to do this? I would say try to do it initially. If you're starting up and you're really serious, I recommend 3 times a week. You don't have to go for a long duration of time. It could be 20 minutes every other day. It could be 20 minutes every day. It's up to you, it's how serious the singer is. But also remember this, the throat is a muscle. You don't want to overdo it. It's similar to working out. Are you going to work out every day? Not most people. So think about it that way. How often am I going to be working these vocal cords and just making sure that I'm strengthening those chords. Sometimes you see people singing, you see the vein in their neck. I mean, they are really giving it, giving it, giving it. Well, they built up their chords over time. They've strengthened their vocal cords, and they're just able to, punch out songs left and right. But a person who's starting out, they're not going to be as strong in that area. Your biggest key is to make sure you can sing. Your goal out the gate is, can I sing? And just give yourself time to develop that. How long does it take? Well, I would honestly think within a few months' time, you'll know whether you're able to stay on that note or not, or you're just completely off and you need some help. And that's where singing lessons may pan out for you. All right. You need a water bottle. You need hydration because hydration is everything. You want to keep your cords lubricated. They stretch better. That's just the way it is. And some warm up videos or vocal apps on your phone. There's different ones that you can get on your phone. So just go to your Apple store or, your Android store and just download some of those later. If you want lessons later, great. But I would say start with the free warm-ups first. Don't spend money. Please don't spend money because you might end up wasting a ton of money in the long run. If you get to that point where you are like, I'm nailing this, I'm pretty good, then I would recommend a phone tripod and some good lighting if you want to start exploring making videos. Now, I would say start a YouTube page, but go on private settings. Set it to private where only you can play it back and you can hear it. And don't get giddy and start posting stuff right away. Oh, I'm a singer, I can post. Don't do that. When I started my channel, Myra DeShields Farrell, I was in the exploration stage of, you know what? I want to get out there. I want to explore doing freestyling, just creating a song off the top of my head and just singing it. I did a lot of that because I was just in creative mode. I wanted to just have a good time and fool around. But I knew I wanted to step out into a platform and start freestyling publicly. So I knew in order for me to strengthen it, I had to do it publicly. So that forced my hand, but it doesn't have to force yours. Here's another thing. You have to know what you want as a singer. What do you want out of singing? Do you just want to sing for fun? Do you want to get better at singing? Do you want to explore it as a career and literally sing? Do you want to audition? Do you want to see if you can land different Broadway roles? Like, you have to determine how your path is going to look from your vision board and realistically look at, okay, what are your aspirations? And they have to be realistic. If you're just a new singer, honestly, some people, new singer, they're not going to land all of those different things I've just mentioned, but you may just have some very small things you want to do just to get started. So I just wanted to call that out to make sure that that's something that you give attention to. All right. So a phone tripod is nice because, at a certain level, you're seeing yourself, you're seeing your posture, you're going to learn as you take lessons why posture is so critical, why it's important that you do certain things as you start out the gate. So again, there's lots of videos out there by people who have great standards on YouTube, and you'd have to venture out to start looking at some of those videos. Back in the day, we didn't have that. Again, remember, I'm sharing what we had. We didn't have that back in the day. So the music school I went to, they taught me how to, fix my posture, emote my voice, project my voice. They taught me how to raise my voice, how to have inflection to show there was emotion in the voice. They just taught certain things like that I utilize. All of that you're going to learn as you connect with people online, industry people online, like maybe like a Steve Mackey, maybe he'll teach some of those things. A lot of times he's fantastic. And I'm not just dropping names. He's fantastic. There's a lot of people. I can drop a lot of names, but this is not what I'm doing here. I'm just saying you have to search what's best for you based off of what you think is best for your craft. Okay. Now, having said that, we talk about finding your key, what's comfortable for you. This is optional, but very helpful. Even a small keyboard, like I said, helps find your key, practice scales, train your ear, all these things that I mentioned. Not required, but it helps you level up. It helps you get comfortable and in the same lane as those who are doing well with singing. I use a straw sometimes, like I blow into a straw, I blow bubbles into water. There's different techniques. All of these techniques help with lung capacity because there's a lot of breathing techniques when it comes to singing. So these things are very good. Now, I'm moving past that. You may want to, if you start doing videos, have a ring light, a soft lamp, quiet your room, make sure there's no outside noise, no disturbances, because you're wanting to listen carefully to that music and that melody and make sure you land those notes appropriately. A starter song. What's your go-to set? See, this is important because you're going to start building like stairs. You're going to start climbing stairs eventually. Try to, on your vision board, add 5 songs you sing confidently. 5 songs that you're wishing to learn. Maybe there. 5 songs that stretch you, where you say, wow, those notes are too high, but eventually I'm going to work toward those. So to give you my point of view, when I first started out singing, I wanted to sing Mariah Carey so badly. And I wanted to sing these high notes because the sopranos in my class or the choral, they were singing these high notes and oh my goodness, they were out of the stratosphere. But I wasn't there. I was alto 1, alto 2. And there's no way I was hitting any soprano notes. Well, now I hit those soprano notes. Why? Because I stretched. I actually had a goal. And eventually, because I had a piano, I would keep practicing and keep getting close to that note as possible. We'll talk about some of those techniques that can help you get there, but don't focus on those things. If you're a beginner, even if you're in the middle ground, you're an intermittent singer, there's steps. You got to go slow before you, can get to a certain point. So think about that. If you do that, if you can get 5 songs, right, that you sing confidently, this becomes your first mini set. Notice I said mini set because what is it preparing you for? It's preparing you for, hey, if I get these down and I'm really good at them, I might can go live now and do a mini set concert. Don't recommend this initially. I'm just giving you a vision and things that you can think towards eventually. You may ask, how long does it take to get me there? It depends on the student. It depends on how fast you learn. It depends on your discipline. It depends on how well you take it seriously. We talked about some of those in episode, I believe, 1 or 2. Go back to those episodes and reference them and see, what I had to say about that. All right. What does singing do for you? It builds confidence and consistency. That's the real secret. Confidence. Because if you take those 5 songs and let's say you're nailing those songs, you're getting them, you're going to stand tall and be confident. But if you don't know them well, or you're not thinking about, or you're thinking about singing the song, you're not really getting it up here, it makes it a challenge because now you're conscious as you sing publicly, your nerves are already going to be cranked. But now you're worried about the words. Then you're worried about the notes. It's a disaster. Like it's a recipe for disaster. That's why you have to practice privately before you go public. Think about that. All right. Now, for people who are a little bit in the middle ground, they may want to start, with a little, like a brand starter kit, a stage name, or they may use their real name. I certainly use my real name. I'm Myra DeShields Farrell. I use my real name. But sometimes on stage, I refer to myself as DeShields. It's different. There's a lot of Myras out there. There's Rochelle Farrell. There's just different things. I'm not saying I'm compared to anybody in that vein. I'm just saying sometimes you want to be unique and there's ways to do it. Or you could say, I want a stage name. I know people who say Lady this or Soul this or Music this. You got Music Soul Child. You see what I'm saying? Like they have some type of brand name. A simple bio, 2 to 3 sentences about yourself. Once you get to know who you are. For example, I am a contemporary jazz and R&B vocalist. So I already know where my lane is. So my bio would match that, right? Maybe discussing things about myself, where I've performed, 2 to 3 sentences, my passion for singing and teaching and so on and so forth. Then singers who grow fastest, this is what they do. They practice regularly, step one. They record themselves weekly. What did I say? Maybe, 3 times out of the week. They learn songs in the right key. They don't just make up anything. They don't try to sing a cappella to hide the fact that they can't follow music. Oh, I know a lot of people, oh, they did it a cappella, and people, will make such a big deal about it. Well, I find a lot of times a cappella people hide behind the fact that they can't follow music. You want to be a person who can do both, but you want to learn the music first. Then maybe you get better at doing a cappella, but your a cappella got to be on point. You just can't be all over the map because people can tell when a singer is just all over the place and it's a turn off. These are things that you don't do right away. This is where you start to build. So if you want to get confidence and have consistency, you're going to have to practice regularly. This is what singers do who grow fastest. They record themselves weekly. They learn songs in the right key. Perform even before they feel ready. See what I said? Go on private mode. Practice, practice, practice. And then when it's time to go public, you're good. If you want to start today, your phone. A tripod is optional. A basic USB mic, optional. Why? You want to get used to holding a mic. We'll talk about how to handle some of that stuff. You need instrumentals, and you probably need a weekly practice schedule where your vision board will help you nail your target. Singing is a skill, not a gift. Meaning, you can have the gift of singing. Bear with me one second. You could be God bestowed, given a talent, but if you don't learn how to use it, you have no skill. That's why there's people out there who have beautiful voices, but they don't even know how to use it. I remember hearing someone sing and they didn't know how to use their voice. And I was like, I just need that person under my belt. Those are things I want you to think about. Most singers become good through training and repetition. So there are songs that I've been singing for years, over and over and over again. And I can sing a song so many different ways because I've made that song mine. It's in my DNA now. It's just the fabric of me. It's part of who I am. Like I swallow it, I eat it, that type of song where you can sing it in your sleep. Why would that be the case? Because that was practice and repetition. So you have to think like that. You have to be able to match a note, play one note on a piano or, like I said, YouTube vocal pitch video and try to copy it. If you can get close after a few tries, that's a good sign. See what I said? That's a good sign. Can you stay on key for a simple song? Pick an easy song like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Slow. Don't try to do runs, y'all. Don't try to get out there and start trying to color. I'm giving you terms that people use. Back in the day, we called it riffing, because if you think of water, and if you have still water and you threw something in it, like something hard, like a rock, you would see a ripple effect. So we called it riffing. You would see like a ripple effect in that water. Well, that's what runs are. Runs give you that, like, were you able to run down the note? Maybe on a scale and you didn't do the scale. You did the scale punching each note all the way down, but you did it so well it dripped. People didn't hear you step the note. They actually heard you drip through the note. But they heard every last note that you did. Like riffing, some people do it well, slowly. Some people do it fast. You have to think in terms. I'm trying to think of a good example of it. Like I could do, right? If I want to riff it, like I'm doing it faster, but I'm doing it a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? Intentional, where it's not a big deal, to do. Anyway, that's just a poor example, but it's an example if you get what I'm trying to share. Now, this is a big one. Record yourself. Like I said, pick an easy song, slow, not too many runs. If you're mostly on pitch, even if you sound a little shaky, you can sing. You see that? Or is there a choral song, right? This is a big one. If you sing the same part twice and it's not wildly different, that means you have some type of control. You're not guessing. People react positively to you. In other words, they say you have a pretty voice. You can sing. Can you sing that again? If you hear stuff like that, you're on to something. Even if it's one person, it still counts. But make sure it's not somebody who loves you to death that they will tell you what you want to hear. You've got to find somebody who's going to give you the big truth. You don't need to be perfect to be a singer, but you need to practice. So you need pitch improvement. You need breath control. You need confidence. You need consistency. That's literally it. The best way to find out, let's put you in order. Day one, record yourself singing a song slowly, like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Or find a song that you can sing slowly. Record yourself singing a verse of a slow song. Why? Because that says whether you have a measure of control. Sing the same verse again after warming up. Always do a warm up. Why? It's like going to the gym. If you don't stretch that muscle before you start singing, you could try to hit a note and then we get in trouble because now we've done some type of damage, right? We just got to be really careful how we use those muscles. Improvement means your voice is trainable. So if you sound better by day 3, you probably can sing. Now, signs you need training. Let's keep it real as I wind down. You are always off key. You don't sound like the melody. Meaning you can't follow the melody. Your voice cracks constantly. Could be you're straining. You're not singing in the right key. You can't find the starting note. I had a person audition before me, and she kept singing Sweet Love by Anita Baker, I think, or something. She could not find the start note. It was just something, I forget what the song was, but she couldn't find the start note, which is bad because you've got to be able to come in when you should. Think about that. You go to a restaurant, you order food, you order an appetizer, but they bring you the meal. But you said, I wanted the appetizer before the meal. You're disappointed because you wanted your appetizer. Well, that's what you do if you don't come in on time. You're literally skipping through something, and nobody likes that. They want to hear the song consistently the way it's meant to be heard, for the way they know it. All right. You sound like you're talking the song. I had someone or a few people do that too. I have somebody who wants to be a singer, but does a lot of talking. They need training, and that's why they came. They came to me to help. All right, that's that. Now, we're winding down, and I think I want to make this a part 2 because I want to talk to you about how do you go about getting a good teacher when you're at that point, when you want to, pursue singing seriously. How much does it cost? What's the average cost of a singer? Because those things are critical when you want to break out into singing. Then also, what's your style? I'm using a lot of references, and I'm not throwing any shade to artists that are out there, but I found when I was working with people that they wanted to sound like someone. And I was teaching them how to find their own voice because their own voice is unique. It's okay to start out sounding like someone because that's how you can sing. So when somebody says, oh my goodness, you remind me of so-and-so, that's good. But the world already has one of those. They need to know who you are and what's your vocal style and what's unique about you. So you will, in time, begin to learn how to become yourself. It's not going to show up in the beginning, I promise you, because once you're in the learning stage, it's just a learning stage. It takes time. Once you get there, though, you do find you have your unique voice. And I teach that. So people say, well, what's my unique voice? I teach them, say hello. Hello, my name is Myra Farrell. Welcome to Notes from a Songbird podcast. Did you hear me? That's my voice. That's not a voiceover. That is exactly who I am. So then when I'm singing, that's who I am. That is my unique sound to me. Whether I sound like somebody out there already or not, that is my unique voice. But I'm not trying to sound like someone else because if I do that, I am not using my unique voice. I remember hearing someone who, would try to sound like Michael Jackson, that squeeze in the voice. Nothing against Michael Jackson, phenomenal, or you already know. But when you try to emulate somebody and you force it, that's what people hear. They hear you forcefully trying to sound like someone else and you lose your authenticity. That's not what you want. So, yes, we're going to talk about some really good topics on episode 2 of getting out there and what you need to do. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you think you want to explore a topic, put it in the chat. I am not shy from any topic. Again, these are from my point of view, how I've been able to stay singing for so many years or have the longevity singing, and how I've been able to take care of myself in doing it. Thank you so much for tuning in today.